land. They're thankful for the land. It's just a total different approach of how to serve God. And I just find it intriguing and interesting. And just think it's good stuff. All right, quick recap. We've taken the first cup, which was the cup of sanctification, the second cup, which was the cup of judgment. We've taken of the maror, representing the bitterness. I understand it's Dinah's favorite. We've taken the parsley, representing hyssop, which was used to place the blood over the doorpost. We've taken of the caroset, representing the sweetness of Christ being added to the bitterness of life. We've broken the bread, removed the center portion. Y'all remember what the center portion was?
Afikomen.
Afikomen, the bread of affliction. Because now this portion of the Seder, this same bread is now going to become the bread of redemption. Okay? Redemption. All right, so what we would normally do, and we didn't do it, but we were supposed to hide the linen bag and let the kids go search for it, but I knew Cruz was going to be still eating baklava, so we didn't do all that. So the kids would go search for it, and when it's found, what you typically do to the one who finds it is you say, "Can I redeem that with silver?"
Mm-hmm. You give them money.
You give them silver. Usually I give a silver $1. And yeah. So, dang. So on the third day, very early in the morning, there was a young lady, Mary Magdalene. She came to the tomb and she said, "They have stolen my Lord. If you would just tell me where he is, I will take him. I will take his body." Matthew 27:64. "Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the third day, lest the disciples come by night and steal the way, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first." So, what we have here then in the bag, broken piece of bread in the center section, that was hidden, but we have found, if I can get to the center section. I can't even get to the center section. So we take that out. Put a little in it, but anyway. So Jesus' broken and marred body was wrapped in a linen cloth, sealed in the tomb, but then he was brought out. And that's what this bread is representative of. So if everybody at the table will take a piece of their matzah bread, this is for the sake of us understanding what afikomen means. So take that bread and just break it into 2 or 3 small pieces there, if you would. Y'all remember reading the scripture, "This is my body which is broken for you." Now we're going to go back to the Sephardic Jewish tradition. Many of the Orthodox Sephardic Jewish men, they would take a portion of the afikomen after they would eat it at the Seder, whatever was left. They would take it and they would hide it in their house somewhere, like in their in a chest or drawer or somewhere up in the closet. They would hide it, and if they would get sick, and they still do this to this day, if they get sick, instead of going to the doctor, they go and they retrieve a piece of this hidden afikomen, and they break it. And here's what they say. They literally say this. Okay? In that name that this represents, I take it as my healing. A few years ago, my bag got messed up, and I have a seamstress in town that I use, and I took it to her, and there was a piece of this bread still in it. And I took it to her, and so she called me and she said, "Hey, I got your bag ready." So I stopped by to pick it up, and I went to pay her, and she said, "Nah, I'm not gonna let you pay me for this one." She said, "Provided you let me keep what was inside." I said, "What was inside? Was it $100 bill or something?" She said, "No, I know what that bread was in there." She said, "I want to keep it." She said, "I know what it represents. And I know who the healer is.
Wow.
Isn't it something how small this world is? So, the spread means I came. Okay? Thin bread, no sin in it. Has stripes on it, right? Has holes in it. He was wounded. He was pierced for our transgression. And it's actually been reported with some of these Jews that after they eat this bread, even though they say, I don't know who it is, but whoever this represents, I received my healing. There have been reports of them being healed just from eating the bread.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? That's incredible. So it was this point in the last Passover that Jesus broke the bread and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. John 6:32-35, Jesus said to them, verily, verily, I say to you, Moses gave you not the bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Then they said to him, Lord, evermore give us this bread. Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that comes to me shall never hunger, and that he believes on me shall never thirst. So for those who do not yet believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the afikomen is still the bread of affliction, but to both Jew and Gentile who have accepted Jesus as their Messiah, this is now the bread of redemption. So lift your piece of bread up if you would, and let's say this blessing together. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. This is my body broken for you. Eat in remembrance of me, Jesus said. So if you would, let's eat this bread of redemption. Right. The third cup, Luke 22:20, likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament of my blood, which is shed for you. Now, we don't have in Scripture we don't have record of Jesus drinking the first cup in Scripture, which is the cup of sanctification. We don't have a record of him drinking the second cup, which is the cup of judgment, also known as the cup of plagues. But we do have record that he waited until after supper was over and he picked up the third cup. Remember, there's 4 promises that went with the 4 cups. The first promise was, I will bring you out from under the burden of the Egyptians. The second promise was, I will deliver you from their bondage. And the third promise is, I will redeem you. And this is the cup of redemption. You know, it's a very interesting cup. If we go back to the time of Jesus and the Jewish wedding feast, it ties so many scriptures and stories together for us. In Jesus' time, a young Jewish man could not just pick a girl and get married. Cruz, and so we're treating you like a young Jewish boy. We're picking out your girl. Actually, once a young Jewish man had picked out a girl that he desired to be his wife, he had to seek the young girl's father and offer a dowry. So the story goes like this. The young man would see a gal that catches his fancy. Her name might be Gabby, I don't know. And there would be a gathering place, Cruz. And part of the duties of the Jewish girls back in the day was to go to the well and bring water to the house because they didn't have indoor plumbing. Running water. Yeah, that's bad, ain't it? So it's 3 times a day. Young girls would make trips to the well. So if you were a young Jewish man looking for a wife, you'd sit at the well. You know, have you ever heard that song? Sitting at the well, watching all of it. No, that's not it. But anyway. And unlike today, if you saw a gal that caught your fancy, you wouldn't just go up to her and ask her out. So the young man would have to inquire, find out what her name was, and then he couldn't approach her. He'd have to approach the father. I kind of like that. Okay? I mean, anyway, we don't do it like that. Now, ladies, don't take offense here, but according to Jewish history, the girls at that time, back in Bible days, were a bit of a detriment to their families. They really didn't have a way to earn wages for their upkeep, if you will, wages to buy clothes and food and housing. It was incumbent upon fathers to take care of all of